SaaS Therapy.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of SaaS Therapy. My name is Todd Kirk, and today we will be doing a check-in review, essentially a summary of a recent interview I did with the Director of Customer Success for Gong. I had a chance to interview Tim Hill and to learn a little bit more about how their business operates and what they do. And he shared a ton of phenomenal insights about how we can make more investments in our customers to help them be successful.
So part of success, customer success, is really about making investments in your customers and how you're supporting them, and ensuring that you're delivering a pretty consistent customer experience with defined milestones, and hopefully a healthy and honest two-way communication between yourself as a CSM or a CS leader and the customer and their key stakeholders. But I think that's where one of the areas where in the SaaS world where sales and CS differ a little bit. Sales, you're constantly focused on building pipeline, and pipeline you might build today may bear fruit in a future quarter or 2 quarters. And certainly as you get up into enterprise motions with long sales cycles, of course, that's going to be very true. But in sales, you're also looking at what is in front of me immediately. How do I influence that decision to close within whatever period of time that you're focused on, a quarter, a half year, a year, et cetera. Success is planting seeds, farming those seeds, and hopefully bearing the fruits of those seeds in future quarters. One of the other things that ultimately leads to is one area that we've failed at times in the past is making an investment like that, and then almost forgetting about measuring and assessing the outcomes of those investments in future quarters, or finding it more challenging to tie an outcome to an investment made 6 months, 8 months, 12 months ago. So something we're hyper focused on as we think about the key initiatives. We just started our fiscal year on February 1st. We had our sales kickoff, our entire revenue kickoff with CS and sales the first week of February. So this is week 2, basically, of the year. And there's no shortage of things we're doing and we're investing in and evolving in. Measuring those, the efficacy of those investments is a big piece of the equation.
One of my favorite parts of our conversation with Tim is the fact that he used an analogy about earning coins from your customers with consistent, valuable interactions that essentially will act like a rainy day fund when something goes wrong in the future. Tim had some phenomenal insights about how we can help customers to be retained better. And he mentioned the fact that retention is really a lagging indicator, and even usage can be squishy, so you may be at risk of churn. So what are the leading indicators?
It could be a variety of things. I'm going to talk a little bit through the lens of Gong because I've lived it day in, day out for nearly 5 years. You're right, though. GDR, retention, that is a lagging indicator. How do we get there? Adoption is important. If you have a customer that has zero adoption or minimal adoption, of course, the likelihood of retaining that customer, whatever it is that you're selling, is going to be pretty minimal. But healthy adoption, and that is a very nebulous definition depending on what that actually means. Users logging in, users consuming features, etc. That doesn't necessarily mean you're good. It obviously helps, but it doesn't mean you're for sure good. So what we've thought about, and where we're putting our focus on at Gong, is in 2 key areas. The first is key personas. We've analyzed our customer data. We have thousands of customers. We have thousands of customer outcomes as it pertains to retention. Customers who are renewing year in, year out, customers who are churning, et cetera. And what we've learned from those, from analyzing those outcomes, is that whether or not you have key personas engaged and using your product matters significantly. But the one consistent theme is if we have engagement from key personas and they are utilizing Gong in somewhat of a consistent manner, a weekly cadence or even monthly cadence, we see a 25% improvement in gross retention.
I think it's a really good insight from Tim here. I think we need to start by considering if we're talking to the right people. Are the people that you're talking to, are they the ones who are going to fight for you? Are they the ones who are going to find budget and keep using your product and getting value out of it? And if they aren't, the likelihood that you churn goes up. Tim even mentioned that when they get the right personas engaged, that they see an increase of upwards of 25% in retention rates for those accounts. Tim also pointed out that there's often a disconnect between your account team and key personas within your customer base. So the standard approach is to try and get them into a QBR and put that on the calendar. But then it feels like you're trying to extract value from them when it should be the other way around.
We've got to earn the right to get their to get a portion of their attention in any given time period. And it starts with, how do I help them get value from the product without asking for anything in return, right? How can I add value to this person? How can I help them learn something about their business that maybe they didn't know? And that's when you start to get them more engaged. And then, and only then, will those personas consider coming to the CSM saying, what else can you tell me about my business that maybe I don't know, or what else can Gong? Then as you establish that relationship, you put yourself in a great position. Our CSMs work in that first session essentially to begin the journey of earning credibility. And that starts with working to deeply understand the customer's business. What are the big bets? What are the key initiatives that customer has in their plan for the year? Sometimes customers don't think that Gong can influence some of those big initiatives, and it turns out that we can. So there's also a degree of education. But to the extent that we understand the business, that then allows us to be far more prescriptive with both that key stakeholder and their team for how Gong should be deployed. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of different use cases and workflows within the product. Not all of them are applicable to every customer. They should be tied to what that business truly cares about. How can we deliver value without asking for anything in return to a key stakeholder so that they are kept apprised of the status of this investment they've made in a software, and that they themselves are potentially learning new insights about their business that they had maybe previously been unaware of?
Tim's point here is really solid. Did you notice that he focused on what do my decision makers care about? What do my key personas really want? That ultimately is what is going to be the best predictor of your success. So how can you drip out value to them and encourage them to engage in a way that feels natural? As you consistently demonstrate your competence and capabilities to support their business, you're going to build confidence and trust. At the end, Tim challenged everyone to take a real honest look at how well they know their customers.
And you might, depending on who you sell to and who you serve, those personas could care about pretty dramatically different things, even within one individual account. And making sure you're getting alignment. I think being extremely honest about, do you understand those personas? And are you providing them incremental value, and having a healthy dose of paranoia about it is I think the homework that I would do.
I loved this interview with Tim. He had some amazing insights, and if you would like to listen to the full episode, you can find it at SaaS Therapy. We're so pumped to have you all here with us. Please join us next week for additional interviews and episodes where we discuss everything that has to do with the world of SaaS so that you can build stronger relationships with your customers. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful week.